Jade, thank you. As the search for Nancy continues, Emma Jade sat down with Ed Smart.
Ed is the father of Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped from her bed at knife point when she was just 14. For 9 months, Elizabeth Smart was tied up, raped, and threatened with death if she attempted to escape. She was rescued by police after 2 witnesses recognized her abductors from an America's Most Wanted episode.
So Emma talked to, again, Elizabeth's dad, Ed Smart, about his experience and how his family was able to hold on to hope as the weeks and the months dragged on in their search.
There's not a lot of people on this planet who can relate to what the Guthries are going through. How do you keep up hope?
I literally had a feeling inside that Elizabeth was out there. We had a private investigator help us once, pulling out all of the stops. I mean, yes, you want law enforcement to do everything that you can. You want to cooperate with them, but, sometimes they don't know.
When you're working with law enforcement so closely, especially in those first couple of weeks, and then you as a family realize we might need more help. How did you navigate that?
It is very difficult because, we would have a meeting every day the first few weeks, I would say probably for the first month, and we would talk about how things are going, what we can do to move forward. I know what the Guthries are going through, basically trying to put together a plan of how the next few weeks are going to go, what they can do to keep Nancy's face out there. It was important to take those steps. We tried to be totally respectful of what law enforcement was doing. I think that you can't give up. You have to continue to engage, looking at all of the potentials out there besides what law enforcement is bringing to the table.
I think specifically with the Guthrie case, we found the black gloves, but then the DNA wasn't a matching CODIS. And then we found DNA inside of Nancy's home that didn't match anyone that she knew, but the DNA is compromised. How did you deal with the ups and downs when you're already so emotionally broken?
During the course of those 9 months, it was like an emotional roller coaster. You would hear about bones, you would hear about bodies being found. We would get up at night and roam the house. What could Mary Catherine have actually seen in that bedroom? How is Elizabeth surviving? What can we do? And we had to, I had to start taking an Ambien to get to sleep, because if you can't sleep, you can't function.
How do you go back to work? How do you go back to work? How do you carry on with normal life?
You never go back to normal. You never go back to where it was before. We felt like we had to do everything that we possibly could do to cooperate with law enforcement, also to follow up on things that we felt maybe weren't looked at closely enough.
So if you remember, this case is when the Smart stepped outside of law enforcement, released the sketch and name of Brian David Mitchell, who actually kidnapped Elizabeth, that ultimately led to them finding their daughter.